Previously in Formula 2. See what we can recover from this one as we continue to push through the race though. Big moment there, into the wall, and we're out. And what on earth was that crash? We're up in the air and over the barriers. After a serious crash during the Formula 2 feature race in Azerbaijan, Trident driver Bent Viscal is set to miss the third round of the championship in Miami. The Dutchman lost control and understeered into the outside wall in the very fast and tight final sector. The car vaulted over the barriers, landing wheels down on the other side. While Bent Viscal himself was able to escape with no injuries, the car was another story. With the Trident team unable to repair the damage in time for Miami, the driver running second in the standings will not take to the grid, leaving just 21 cars to start on race day. And that brings us to the present day, qualifying here in Miami. And as the news presenter at the start mentioned, we will not be taking part. And the reason I'm doing this, just to break the fourth wall, there are a few. So, firstly, I do not know this track. Miami is completely new to me, and at the time of recording, I have not driven a lap around this circuit. And usually when new circuits are added, I take quite a while to get up to speed, which is why in the previous game I did full videos of learning the new circuits of Portugal, Imola and Jeddah. So I will probably do the same thing for Miami at some point, but that's just one of a number of reasons. The second reason is that in general Formula 2 championships tend to be fairly easy, and I find that it would be nicer if we had a little bit more of a challenge. So skipping this round effectively will give us a good chance, give the other drivers, I should say, a good chance to score some points while we are out. And the third reason is it just sort of makes sense with the story, which is why I'm doing it this round. But there is actually a fourth reason as well, and I've wanted to do this idea for a while, but I didn't really know if anyone would find it that interesting. But I wanted to just try commentating over an AI race that I'm not taking part in, just to kind of see what that would look like. And if this is a complete failure, then so be it, I won't do it again. But yeah, there are the reasons for doing all this. But anyway, so far in qualifying, Robert Schwartzman has the fastest time, the Russian driver in the Prema, doing the best so far. And I may have pointed out before, but that car is looking very blank. They've definitely removed some sponsors off his car, and it does look quite strange. But anyway, he manages to hold on to that time and take pole position from Yuri Vips, Jane Deruvala and Liam Lawson, followed by Richard Verschoor in 5th position. So 3 Red Bull liveried cars line astern in 2nd, 3rd and 4th, so they will all be challenging for the win come the feature race, and that could be a very tasty battle between the 3 of them. But unfortunately our teammate not doing so well, and he's down in 12th, so it'll be tough for him to score points. Reverse grid pole will go to Roy Nassani with Marcus Armstrong in 2nd, so it'll be an all dams front row for the sprint race here in Miami.
Welcome back to our coverage of the F2 season. We're expecting a hugely competitive race today. This really could be anyone's. With its 3.36 mile track and 19 corners, this Miami Grand Prix should create great opportunities for these Formula 2 drivers to overtake and show what they can do. As we await the start of another hugely anticipated Formula 2 race, I'm joined again by Davide Valsecchi. Davide, as a former GP2 champion, can we get some insight to what is running through these young drivers' heads as they sit out on the grid?
Ciao Alex, it's a pleasure to be here. There are nervy moments, there is no doubts about that. Mental strength is the key to remaining calm and focusing on the upcoming race. Formula 2 is so competitive, and all of these drivers knows that they are going to be pushing each other all of the way. In this sport, you have to be able to control your nerves.
Alrighty then, so here we go to the 5 red lights with Roy Nissany and Marcus Armstrong on the front row. It's lights out and away we go for the sprint race here in Miami. Good start for Roy Nissany, and he's going to lead the way down into the first corner. Armstrong not giving up, he's super late on the brakes. Armstrong into the lead, but only briefly. Roy Nissany back around the outside as the dams go side by side, but it's Nissany who leads the way out of the first few corners, and Marcus Armstrong has to settle for second position. Roy Nissany, this is a good chance for him to win a race here in Formula 2. So let's see if the Israeli driver can hold on. He's done the job so far, and the hardest part is getting it off the line. We'll see the onboard from Marcus Armstrong off the launch, and you can see Roy Nissany maybe marginally better. Armstrong coming back in the second phase of the start though. Big dive up the inside, contact with his teammate there, missed the apex by miles, but through all that Nissany was able to hold on to the position, and Armstrong, maybe his tyres just not quite up to temperature. You can see him struggling a little bit there, and that cost him in the end. On board with the third place starter Christian Lundgaard, and he got a fairly bad start. Dan Ticktum and Oscar Piastri getting through, banging wheels between the three of them, and more involved as well. But Dan Ticktum making a good start. I think he started 5th and he's up to 3rd, so great start by Dan Ticktum. Oscar Piastri was very indecisive, moving right and left. Eventually he was on the inside and briefly was up into 3rd, but Dan Ticktum with the more flowing run around the outside gets through. Piastri not deciding to fight that one too hard, so Dan Ticktum was able to get through there. But watch this launch. I think Dan Ticktum got the best start out of anyone in the top 5, and straight away he knew what he was doing. Get to the outside line, nice and flowing through the first corner, and yes, he made a great start and was able to move himself up the grid. Is he on board with Robert Schwartzman, and he got a fairly okay start. Went to the inside, big dive up the inside, very big dive, and barges one of the Red Bull cars out the way, and he eventually has to slot in behind. I believe that was Jan Deruvla that he made contact with, but eventually, as I mentioned, had to slot in behind. But Marino Sasso, here's our teammate. What kind of start did he get? Much better than Robert Schwartzman. Went to the inside. Schwartzman shut that door well and truly. Sato through the middle, and that may have been why Schwartzman had to brake so late to hold off Sato. And in the end, Sato has to slot in behind Yuri Vips, and doesn't make too much of that start, unfortunately. And I think he still runs in around 11th position, give or take. So that is how the start unfolded. Now more is going on. That's Larim Zendelli up the inside of Jack Aitken, who almost got Pourchaire there as well. But it's Zendelli and Aitken running side by side now through the final corner and onto the main straight. Let's see how this one plays out. Aitken has the inside, Zendelli on the outside towards the run to the first corner. And Aitken is so late on the brakes, he gets up the inside of Pourchaire. And Jack Aitken so aggressive there, but unable to make the move. And that leaves Pourchaire out in front ahead of Aitken and Zendelli. Meanwhile, this was further back. The other HWA Race Lab car, teammate of Jack Aitken, Alessio Deletta, under pressure from Ralph Boschung in the Campos, trying to go around the outside, but unable to make that move stick. And Deletta holds on to 3rd last with the 2 Campos cars rounding off the grid. Meanwhile, Guilherme Samaya up the road has an issue, and he is going to retire with smoke pouring out of the engine there. And that is the end of the day for the Brazilian. He will finish this one early, and that leaves just 21 cars in this race, with Samaya pulling off the road there. Unfortunate for the Charouz driver, he is out. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead is getting quite close. Marcus Armstrong is really pushing his teammate hard. Roy Nissany is just about hanging on, but of course Nissany doesn't have DRS help, while his teammate Armstrong does, as they head up and into the braking zone. Armstrong just isn't quite close enough, and Roy Nissany is just holding on by his fingertips to this one. But Marcus Armstrong is not giving up, but these two drivers, they don't want to do anything silly. They don't want to start fighting each other too much, because Dan Ticktum is right behind them in third, and any silliness between these two, Ticktum will be thrown into the lead. And while Dams have a 1-2, they do not want to lose this opportunity to score some mega points. So at the moment, it will remain the same, and Marcus Armstrong just can't quite get close enough to his teammate, but he is right there, and one mistake from Nasani will spell the end of his hopes of a race win here, because Marcus Armstrong clearly has much better pace, but just unable to find a way through at the moment. Meanwhile, we look back at this battle for last position between Deletta and the two Campos cars. Deletta has broken away, but at the moment it is Ralph Boschung who is under pressure from his teammate David Beckman, who runs in last position. But Deletta out in front, but smoke coming out of his car as well, and Deletta's got a problem. So Deletta may be out of this race as well. He drops to the back, big dive up the inside of David Beckman, but in the end it's not going to be worth anything, because he is out and now slowing. A brief glimmer of hope there for Deletta as he tried to regain the position, but the car not accelerating out the other side of that corner. He has some engine issue, and that is the end of the day for him. That then brings out the safety car, and I think Roy Nassani will be pretty happy with that, because that is a few less laps he has to defend from Marcus Armstrong, who is still right on his tail. But as you can see, the Mercedes AMG safety car is out on circuit, and the field will stack up behind. And this will be an opportunity for anyone who's been struggling for progress. Bunches up the field, and we will see what effect that has. The safety car accelerates away, leaving Roy Nassani to control the pace as he heads down towards the final few corners. We'll see if he decides to go early or late. Have to wait for the safety car to enter pit lane and make sure he does all the procedures right as he gets ready for a pivotal restart. Safety car is now in pit lane in the foreground, and we'll wait for Roy Nassani to give the signal as we get going for racing here again. Green flags out in Miami, and Roy Nassani leads the way down towards the first corner once again with Marcus Armstrong in pursuit, but not enough opportunity for the Kiwi driver, and Roy Nassani maintains the lead from Dan Ticktum, who sits in third position, followed by Oscar Piastri in fourth. A good opportunity for him to score some decent points after not the start of the season he would have wanted. Meanwhile, this is his teammate Robert Schwartzman, who's trying to make the move on Liam Lawson. Schwartzman being aggressive on this restart, trying to make something happen, but he just can't quite get there, and now Yuri Vips is in the fight behind. Can Vips make himself a position here? He's on the inside of Schwartzman, who's trying to get past Lawson, but in the end the positions stay as they were. But it seems like Lawson struggling for pace. Gap between Lawson and Daruvla opening up, so maybe Lawson has an issue that he's having to contend with, because Schwartzman has not let him go. And along this next straight, the Russian driver has a good run in the slipstream. Lawson having to cover the inside a bit. We'll see where Schwartzman decides to go. He sits right in the slipstream, pulls out to the outside, and Robert Schwartzman takes the position as Lawson tries to hold on. Schwartzman around the outside, and he might just be able to get this done. It's awkward out on the exit curb there, but Schwartzman still keeping the fight going. Lawson clearly struggling with some kind of issue as they still run side by side, and here comes Vips, the Estonian driver, going to make it 3 wide into the first corner. He might grab all the positions here. He barges Robert Schwartzman out of the way, but Schwartzman fights back, and he maintains the lead of those 3 cars. Lawson drops behind both of them. Vips second in that queue now, but that was an aggressive move from Vips. Didn't quite work out the way he would have wanted, but Robert Schwartzman has cleared Liam Lawson, who is clearly struggling with some issues. Vips closing up to the back of Schwartzman, but no opportunity for him there, and Robert Schwartzman will pull away from that pack. So great move by Robert Schwartzman. That's a few more points for him in this race, but I want to see what's going on with Liam Lawson, because I think he is struggling with more issues. I think he may have already been overtaken by another car. It looks like one of the UNI Virtuosis has overtaken Liam Lawson as well. We go on board, and you can see the onboard here with Zhou Guanyu, and he was able to clear Liam Lawson in a very unorthodox place through the sort of the high-speed corners there, medium to high-speed corners, so a bit of an unusual one. But as we continue on, well, that's a mistake there from Lawson. That allows Marino Sato to get through as well as Felipe Drugovic. So now Drugovic around the outside of Sato, and Drugovic trying to get this done. The Japanese driver holding on, our teammate, trying to fight for whatever chance of points he may have in this race, but Drugovic getting through, and that will put Drugovic, I believe, into 10th position. Sato down into 11th. Meanwhile, behind, I think Lawson was still battling away. It's been an eventful few laps for him, and he's dropped a bunch of spots. We'll have a look at the replay, see what was going on here. Larim Zendelli up the inside and getting through on Liam Lawson. So nicely done there by Zendelli, and Lawson continuing to just lose place after place. I don't know what's going on. He's definitely got some kind of issue because he's still under pressure. That's Teo Porcher now looking for a move. So Zendelli obviously was able to clear Porcher at some point, but anyway, Porcher gets through on Lawson, and now it is the turn of Jack Aitken, who makes the move down the inside, and Lawson just has nothing to fight with. You can see he's struggling, so he's either got some damage on that car or has just some other issue going on, but whatever it is, he has not got the pace in this race, and he is just continuing to lose so many places. That is Enzo Fittipaldi going for the move now around the outside, not quite able to get through though on Liam Lawson, but it's only a matter of time as they're now line astern with Ralph Boschung joining the fight. David Beckman there as well as Fittipaldi goes around the outside of Lawson, and he should be able to get through here, and he does. And now Ralph Boschung, he will be the next to line up the Red Bull driver, as Boschung is having a look. Will he be able to get up the inside here? Looks like he's got the move done, and he will make it around the outside of the longer right-hander, and now swings through to take the position. David Beckman now the only one behind Liam Lawson, and I don't think it'll be long until he gets the move done, as he will have a nice lot of slipstream along here. Lawson is probably close enough to Boschung to get a little bit of that straight line speed assistance, but I don't think it's going to matter because look how close David Beckman is. Surely he's going to go for the move here. No, he's actually going to bide his time for a little bit longer. Not quite close enough to go for that overtake on Liam Lawson, but you can see how much time Lawson is losing to Ralph Boschung. So clearly Lawson is struggling, and now towards the final corner, this will be the opportunity for David Beckman to get the move done, and that'll drop Lawson into last position after fighting well inside the top 10. He has absolutely plummeted through the field, has Liam Lawson, so that's very unfortunate for him, and he'll be missing out on some solid points in this one that he could have scored. But anyway, they continue to fight through, and it still remains Lawson ahead of Beckman, still managing to hold off the German, but surely on the run to the first corner with the help of the slipstream for David Beckman. He goes to the outside, Lawson defends, and around the outside goes David Beckman, and he will get the move done on Liam Lawson. And there's a car off there in the background. I believe that was the other campus of Ralph Boschung, who has had an issue there, and on the replay, just a spin all on his own for Ralph Boschung. That's unfortunate, and that drops him now into last position. So Liam Lawson was in last for all of about a couple of meters before Ralph Boschung had that spin, and he does get going again, but the Swiss driver dropping to the back, and I don't think he'll be making up for that lost time by the end of the race. Speaking of which, it has been a long time coming, but Roy Nassani wins here in Miami. The sprint race goes to the Israeli driver. Fantastic racing by Roy Nassani, and that is a well-deserved victory. He fought off his teammate for the entire race, and Roy Nassani brings home the gold for the Dams team, a 1-2 finish.
A great win then for the Dams team today. Davide, what do you think made the difference here?
This race, this win, was about one thing and one thing only: consistency. Anyone can be quick for just one lap, But there's a difference between that and being quick every lap, over and over and over. If you can do that, if you can gain ground when your opponents make mistakes, but then not make mistakes on your own, you can just push and push.
And I can see our drivers making their way out now. It's been a sublime team performance, and it's the culmination of a lot of hard work. Dams are your winners today.
So it is Roy Nassani who takes his first win in Formula 2. Marcus Armstrong finishes in second position, making it a Dams 1-2. And Dan Ticktum is on the podium too.
And so, driver of the day then, Davide Valsecchi, who do you think you'd go for?
Well, after a drive like that, it's got to be Lirin Zendelli. Very clean, very smooth. He can be really pleased with that one.
After all this drama, you would be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Alrighty, so we're going to move straight on to the next race. We'll have a look at the standings and so on at the end of that one. So let's just move on.
Here we go again then. The conditions suggest an exciting race, and the drivers, these drivers, some of whom may well be the racing superstars of tomorrow, are itching to go. 8 rights and 11 left turns make up the Miami International Autodrome. The Formula 2 drivers can expect to see long straightaways with average speeds of 138 miles per hour on this 3.36 mile track. With that then, let's run through the grid order. Robert Schwartzman lines up on pole position, with Yuri Vips starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Deruvala, Lawson, Richard Verschoor and Ticktum. Piastri, Lundgaard, Armstrong, Roy Nissany, Dragovic, Sato, Guan Yu Zhou and Pourchaire, Aitken, Zendelli, Fittipaldi and Guilherme Samaya, Beckman, Deleda, Boschon. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Alrighty then, so here we go to the 5 red lights for the feature race here in Miami. Robert Schwartzman on the front row, Yuri Vips alongside. It's lights out and away we go. Looks like a good start for Vips, a really great one from Deruvala. They've both passed Schwartzman, who's dropped into third, maybe even fourth as they're going 3 wide in the background. It's Yuri Vips into the lead ahead of Jane Deruvala, and the 2 Red Bull cars go from second and third to first and second, and Robert Schwartzman unfortunately is the one who goes from first to third, and that is a disastrous start from pole position. He needed these points and he's not going to get them the way things stand. That's a 10-point loss in the first few hundred meters of the race. What a disaster for Robert Schwartzman, and Liam Lawson is looking keen to get past as well, so I have to see how that plays out. But it's Yuri Vips who leads the way, and he has gained massively off what was not a particularly great start versus Deruvala in third, but he did enough to hold on to the lead as we now go on board with Jack Aitken as he goes down the inside. A big dive, 1, 2, 3 cars. Thank you very much, says Jack Aitken. You might not get this one. Sato's got the inside line. Aitken trying to hold on around the outside, but he just can't hold it there, and Sato will maintain that one. But 2 places at once for Jack Aitken as we see a fight here. That is David Beckman getting ahead of the Charouz car there of Enzo Fittipaldi, and David Beckman making a few places off the start. Meanwhile, at the front of the field though, it is still Yuri Vips who maintains the lead. Deruvala still in pursuit and looking fairly close, so we could have a fight between 2 Red Bull coloured vehicles here. They are not from the same team. Vips for High-Tech, Deruvala for Carlin, and that's a big move up the inside. Lirim Zendelli going for it against Guilherme Samaya. The German and the Brazilian wheel to wheel through the final few corners. Samaya on the inside line as they exit the final corner and onto the main straight as they now begin the second lap of the race. Samaya's got the inside line and he will maintain that position ahead of Lirim Zendelli for the time being, but big effort for Zendelli there to try and get up the inside as we now look again forwards to Marcus Armstrong, second in the sprint race yesterday, but unfortunately things are not going so well today, and he's out of the race with a mechanical issue as he pulls off the road. So unfortunate there for Marcus Armstrong, he is out of the race and that sends a bit of chaos further down the field because he held up Drugovic as he slowed down, and now Sato is right on the back of the Brazilian. So let's see if Sato can get through as he has a look. Where is he going to go? Where's Drugovic going to go? Sato to the outside. Drugovic defends the inside line, and he's going to be able to hold that one, I think. But Sato maybe just got the nose alongside. He is alongside, and Sato with the inside line may get through here, but Drugovic switches back and maintains the position. But that was a hard-fought battle there between the two of them, and Sato almost grabbing a position, but unfortunately wasn't to be for him, and he stays right where he was. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, we move on, and Yuri Vips has really pulled away, and it's Daruvula who's struggling for pace ahead of Robert Schwartzman. So Schwartzman will be looking to make a move here, and in fact he's into the pit lane. Robert Schwartzman the first to blink, and he is going to go for the undercut to see if he can make it work and get past Daruvula. So we'll see what happens here. Liam Lawson is in the pit lane as well, has the exact same idea, so he was quite close behind Schwartzman. This will be a battle of the pit crews as the Prema team go to work on the Prema car of Robert Schwartzman, and he pulls out back into the fast lane. Good stop by them. He may have had to wait a little bit, but we'll see as he rolls out. He still should maintain the position ahead of Liam Lawson, but that gap has definitely closed, so he was lucky, but good work by the crew to get that job done. And Liam Lawson will be absolutely pushing on this outlap to try and make anything work while Schwartzman is on cold tyres, but we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, Yuri Vips is into the pit lane, as is Jay and Daruvula, so the pair of them responding on the very next lap, and these will need to be absolutely perfect stops, especially for Carlin. With Daruvula, he will be under serious pressure, but we're looking at the high-tech team at the moment, and looks like they had a clean stop for Yuri Vips, and he is away and back into the fast lane. But where is Daruvula? He looks like he's lost a lot of time back there, actually, Daruvula. So he may be under threat from not only Schwartzman, but maybe Lawson as well. They're not far apart on circuit. We look at Yuri Vips as he rejoins the track, and it looks like Vips will maintain the lead. Here's Robert Schwartzman. Where will Daruvula emerge? He's in fourth. Lawson's through as well, so Schwartzman up into second, Lawson up to third, and Daruvula down to fourth. What a shame for Jay and Daruvula. There must have been some issue in the pit lane for him because he lost so much time in the proceedings there, so we'll have to go back and see what happened. But Daruvula will not be a happy camper after whatever has happened in the pit lane. We'll need to analyse that, but Daruvula down to fourth, and that's a net loss of 6 points. He goes into the box, wheels off, wheels on, so fairly clean stop by the crew, and the lane looks fairly clear. They're holding him for 2 cars to go past. He maybe could have made that work, but better to be safe than sorry. But it's cost him a few seconds, and ultimately the position to not only Schwartzman but Lawson as well. And oh, that's Jack Aitken into the side of Marino Sato on the pit exit. That was a bit of a weird one. We'll have to see on board with Aitken to see exactly why that happened, but Aitken carrying so much speed into the left-hander there, not able to avoid Sato, who's just minding his own business on pit exit, and Aitken damage now to his front wing, and he's under pressure now, and he's going to be losing places, and surely he's going to have to make a pit stop. And yeah, look at the state of that front wing. He's not going to be able to run the rest of the race with that on the front of the car. That will be about as useful as a piece of plastic tube or something on the front of the car. That's not going to generate much downforce at all. So yeah, that's unfortunate for him, and he will need to make an additional stop, and he's just getting swamped at this point. Cars are trying to go past left, right and centre, and he's just trying to stay out of the way at this point as we now head down towards the final complex of corners. And yes, he's just so frustrating for Jack Aitken. It's been a tough weekend for the HWA Race Lab team. Deletta retiring from the first race, and Aitken struggling for pace all the way through. And yeah, this is not what they needed. They needed chaos further up the field if they wanted any chance of points, but yeah, it's not going to happen for them. And Jack Aitken makes a slow trip down pit lane once again to get that front wing repaired. That's very annoying for him. And for HWA, more work for the pit crews to do. Long stop when you got to change the front wing. A lot of work to do for these Formula 2 pit crews, who only have very limited number of people who are allowed to work on the car at once. So It takes them a while to change the front wing. It's not like Formula 1 where they have an excess of mechanics out on the pit lane. And yeah, they eventually get him back out, but the news doesn't get any better for HWA because Alessio Deleta's got another issue with his car, and he's going to retire from the feature race as well. So Alessio Deleta, a double retirement with mechanical failures this weekend. Something is really not going well for that team at the moment. But meanwhile, up the road, things are really not going well for Daruvula either. He's really lacking pace at the moment, and now Richard Verschoor is trying to make the move. He got very close there, the Dutchman behind the Indian. Daruvula is having to defend on the run up towards the first corner. Verschoor to the outside, but Daruvula covers him off and says, "No, you are not getting through." And Daruvula holds on, but that was the end of that battle. Meanwhile, we have still up the road Robert Schwartzman, who is holding on to second, but Lawson is so close behind the Russian, so we'll see if Liam Lawson can do anything. We're on the final lap of the race now, so there really are not a lot of chances left for the Kiwi driver in the high-tech to overtake the Prema in front. Let's see what he can do in the slipstream now. He's close. He's very close to Robert Schwartzman. The Russian driver not choosing to defend though. He stays and holds his ground on the racing line, and it works. He carries the speed, and Liam Lawson just doesn't have a chance to overtake as Robert Schwartzman holds on to second. He's really only got one opportunity left now, does Liam Lawson. But out in front, it's still Yuri Vips. He has absolutely dominated this race. Look, you can't even see second place in the background of shot. It's been an absolutely superb drive from Yuri Vips, and that is going to be one of the highlights of his season. Absolutely stunning performance here in Miami, and Yuri Vips, the Estonian driver, is going to straighten things up out of the final corner, and he comes across the line to win here in Miami. That is a brilliant drive by him. Second place will go to Robert Schwartzman ahead of Liam Lawson in third.
So another fantastic victory for High-Tech GP today. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I think they kept a cool head. That's why they won today. Smooth, steady, everything bad that happened to them, they handled it calmly and professionally. That's what let them focus on getting the best out everything else. The car, the strategy, they managed to keep out of trouble the whole way around.
And it's time now for the podium celebrations, and how well deserved is this one? What a fantastic victory for High-Tech GP. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
Lots of drivers impressed me today, Alex. But if I have to say one that impressed me most, it's Liam Lawson.
After all this drama, you would be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Alrighty then, so that brings an end to this very weird episode of the series. Obviously this is not something I will make a habit of. I outlined the reasons why at the start of the episode, but as a fun little side experiment, I enjoyed this, but I do realize it's not what you come here to see. You come here to watch me drive for some reason. Anyway, so let's go and focus back on the race. We just saw the podium, Vips ahead of Schwartzman and Lawson. Then came Jane Daruvula. He was able to hold off Richard Verschoor. Oscar Piastri 6th ahead of Christian Lundgaard. Dan Ticktum, Roy Nassani and Felipe Drugovich round out the points finishers in this one. As for the points standings, Jane Daruvula leads the way, 21 points ahead of Robert Schwartzman. We sit 27 points away in third position. Then comes Oscar Piastri, who is 30 points adrift. Yuri Vips has absolutely vaulted himself up the order, and he now sits in 6th position with the 25 points he got for winning that race. He has more than doubled his points for the season. He is now on 38 points. So great effort from him in this one. Our teammate Sato is in 9th position. He is on 28 points, 41 off the championship lead. And as for the Constructors Standings, it's probably not going to look so good for us after this one. We sit in 3rd position. Carlin lead the way on 69 points. Second place is Prema. They're on 48 points. We are on just 42. So that is how things look after the 3rd round of the championship. But other than that, I don't think there is too much else left to cover, so I will say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to give me any feedback you have in the comments. It is always very helpful. But other than that, I will see you next time.